Hello, and welcome back to another Minecraft Let's Play video with me, Elven Dragon. So last episode, we went and built up a small little mob farm to help repair our tools, hopefully a little bit faster than using the trial spawner. And I have to say, this thing is working okay. It's not amazing, it's not great. I'm sure if we go and put in a trident killer in the middle here and set up an AFK spot down there, it might work a little bit better. But as a quick, simple little mob farm, it's not doing too bad. We get mostly zombies. Actually, get a semi-consistent stream of mobs. It's not very fast at all, but it is kind of working. Gotten two of our tools repaired. I actually got another efficiency 2 shovel to repair up our shovel here, and I've got our pickaxe repaired. Actually, mostly by trading with villagers for some of the stone that we got from digging this whole thing out. And today, well, I kind of want to expand a little bit more on our possible experience sources. Right now, we've got the trial chamber spawners, which work well, but they take 30 minutes to reload every time. We have our mob farm here, which is a bit slow, but it is consistent and also currently manual. And we have the villagers, which are consistent, not too bad. The issue is our sources of trading items are either inconsistent from the iron farm or require us to use durability to get durability back, namely mining stone. So I'm thinking we probably should get a few things that we don't need to use our tool durability to get more stuff for. Now, one way we could do that is we can trade some food. I've got some bread here from our farmer because we're starting to run a little bit low on salmon, which means I probably should go fishing again. Alternately, we get a bunch more farmers, we get some golden carrots, start trading some stuff to them, which might be one option. Because if we can get a melon and pumpkin farm, that'll be a nice, consistent way of getting more emeralds, more levels, and we can also trade golden carrots. Oh, and cake. We could also trade cake. Needless to say, we've got a lot of stuff here that we could use. I might think about getting a potato farmer because that is another option that we could do. Is we could go set up a villager farm, which we could do over here. We've got our farm area here that could get turned into a small little villager farm. Just put a small little farmhouse, little barn, put the rest of our sheep in it, and just put a nice big potato field right here and have an automatic villager farm from that. I don't know if we're too close to the iron farm, which interestingly enough, I haven't seen a single iron golem spawn recently, which means it's probably somewhere around the island and could be in the lake, maybe? I don't know. It could be anywhere around here. We've got a few caves. We've got obviously the entire ocean here that it could have wandered off into, and that is not supposed to be there. I don't know where an Enderman stole that from. Anyway, Iron Golem and Enderman problems aside, we have another option, and that is a sugarcane farm. Now, none of the farms that we could build except for the potato farm would be automatic. Actually, we might be able to do the melon and pumpkin farm automatically, but I need to do some testing for that. Namely, see how we can trigger the redstone to basically have it when a pumpkin or melon grows, it triggers the redstone without using any observers because we don't have any quartz yet. Still. But first thing I'm thinking of is we've got a whole bunch of our librarians. Pretty much all of these guys have been cured at least once. So we have a not bad trade on paper. So what I'm thinking is we set up a decent sized sugarcane farm. Not going to be automatic, obviously, because we don't have the quartz for the observers. But if we set that up, we should be able to at least get a semi-consistent stream of sugarcane. Obviously, we're going to have this set up so that we can manually harvest everything and go from there. But I've set aside this area right here, thinking this whole section here will just turn into sugarcane farms. Might put a cactus farm over here, maybe. I don't know. Thinking about expanding this out to there. Definitely need a cactus farm at some point. I think that might be another option where we just smelt cactus into green dye. But we don't really need that much green dye. So, I don't know. We'd have to set up a lava farm and everything else. But I'm thinking sugarcane farm in here. And then that's actually going to be a pillar there. And then these sections right here are going to be for other kind of similar sugarcane farm concepts. Now, we can't get bamboo. I've already checked all the shipwrecks we have in the area that I'm restricting myself to, and none of them have bamboo. I suppose we could, in theory, go and get some bamboo by fishing in the nearby jungle because it is just close enough. But I feel like that would be kind of defeating the spirit of our little challenge out here of just using what we have on our islands. I already think kind of going for some of the shipwrecks and some of the stuff in the water is kind of pushing it a little bit. So I think going all the way over to the jungle is probably a little bit too far. But we have sugarcane, we have kelp, which that's another option. We could just smelt kelp. What do we need for an auto crafter? We could do that. I'm getting an idea here. We could do this. You know what? Let's get the sugarcane farm, at least the basics in. We'll leave out the dispensers and everything else for right now. But let's get that in because we can go and trade that to the villagers. That'll be very useful for us. We'll need to get that in anyway. And then we'll look at where we can put a kelp farm because that might actually be the most efficient thing we could do. I think I'm going to need a bit more iron though. All right. So, simple sugarcane farm in, just simple manual farm for right now. Put in pistons and everything else later once we actually get some more iron. Looks like we're probably going to have to smelt a bunch more. Probably going to need more for this as well. But I have decided where I'd like to put the kelp farm, and that would be right over here. There's the furnace. There's only one small problem. We don't quite have enough height here to put everything in. So we're going to have to lower this down. As nice as this is, I think we might put our bookshelves here across the top, just lower this down by a block. So instead of having the furnace at this level, we'll put it down here. Then we really don't have to do anything else. We'll have water stream there, go into there. That should be good. The issue is going to be how are we getting the water stream up there and where are we routing it from? Because what I'm thinking is we can't really go up here. Be careful because I think there might be gravel along here. Right there. Okay, so that's about as far as we can go. Alternate option here is we basically just run a hopper line. Not ideal, but given the path being right there, that might be the best option for us to do. So I'm going to go figure out exactly how we're going to do this. I know we'll have hopper line in there for our kelp. So kelp in is going to be there. Kelp out is going to be here, going into an upwards facing crafter, into another hopper going into our furnace. That should get us enough, keep us fueled, provided we get enough kelp coming in once we actually get everything set up. So I'm going to start routing all of our hoppers and everything else. Go get some more iron because that is not going to cut it for iron, and that's definitely not going to cut it for pistons. And then I'll be right back. All right, so we don't quite have the farm in, but I think we have at least a basic collection system in. So our kelp comes all the way from here. It should just go right up the water stream, I hope. We're going to test this, but we'll have our kelp in here. I actually need to fill in this layer here. So going from here, we'll bridge our kelp down and out. If we want, we can always, actually, our kelp's going to start here. We're going to merge our kelp going this way. That way we can keep expanding this. Although, given that that is our storage room, we might not be able to. So, I guess down like this. I didn't really want to have the water going the same direction as our kelp or opposite, just because then we'll have to go up if we want to expand this further. Although, if we're doing that much kelp, this would be 64 kelp if we did this full section. I think if we need more kelp plants than that, then we have a bigger problem. So, we toss our thing of stone in there. We can watch and see. It's just going to stop there. That's what I was afraid of, is that it just gets stuck right here and it doesn't actually go into the storage. So what we might do is grab that, take this out, put in another hopper, and hope that that works. And that's not going to work either. Okay, back to the drawing board of how to build a collection system for this without using a... Alright, back to the drawing board without... Alright, back to the drawing board of how to figure this out without using any soul sand. I guess droppers. We might have to use droppers for this. It's really not that... And 2 droppers shouldn't be that bad. 2 or 3. Yes, droppers it is. This is going to be the weirdest kelp farm I've ever built. Alright. So, bit of tinkering later, and I think we have a collection system. Somewhat. We do need to put in some more hoppers to get everything flow in. But if we toss stuff in there, that should all go into the first dropper, which you can't actually see because we have blocks around it right now. But for our redstone clock circuit, we have just a basic little back and forth, and it looks like I messed up a bit with the redstone here. Shouldn't be too hard to fix though. Should just be connect that there, and there we go. That's clearly working because we're getting the trapdoors moving there. So we'll probably have to get rid of those because that's going to get really annoying really quickly. But it looks like the crafter there is working, and it looks like our droppers are working. There we go. There's a redstone dust we tossed in earlier. So that's our processing system. Now we just have to get the growing system in and maybe do a little bit of decorating in case we have to come back here. Probably not. So that sort of clock is kind of what we're going to be doing for the rest of our farm. There's only one small problem. We have our collection path right here. Our water for our kelp farm stops right there. Now we can go fill everything in here. I believe this does actually go all the way down to the lowest level here. So we've got 8 levels here full of pistons ready to be turned into a kelp farm. We just need to actually put in kelp farm. Now there's no redstone behind this because we've got 60 redstone. That's all we've got. And I want to play around with the timing of the minecart circuit as well, just so that we can play around with getting that the way we want it to be. Since this is what's going to be actually running the farm, I don't want it to be too fast, too slow, because then it'll start causing problems. So that's going to have to be worked out. But I'm liking how this is coming along. Definitely need to do a lot more digging and a lot more work. But we've got the basic shape in, at least. Alright, so I decided to replace the second water stream with just a line of hoppers. It's not quite complete right now because we still need to get in and out of this farm to set up the redstone. But this seems to be working. So we have our kelp currently growing down the bottom. I've got some stairs with lanterns behind them. And we're slowly starting to get the redstone in here up top. The issue is we kind of need some more materials. The issue is we don't quite have enough materials here to get everything fully running. Namely, we need to actually activate more of our powered rails here. So that's going to take about 3 or 4 more levers. But if we go through here, you can see we hit the activator rail. It hits all of our pistons in the front. We go down, and then we hit the other one, bounce back, and that should hopefully take care of the first two layers. Now again, there's no power on those powered rails just yet. I sure have enough stuff to get levers for those, and once those are in, that means we have a full kelp farm that should be more or less automatic, at least 2 layers of it anyway. The other 8 layers will come when we get enough redstone and gold and everything else to activate everything else. But all in all, I think for a quick little thrown together farm, this isn't half bad. And we're going to have to definitely play around with a lot of how our redstone works for this thing. Because we're kind of working in a small space here. And with not knowing how far the surface is and our terraforming, I kind of want to keep this as close to the actual farm as I can. That way we don't have to really worry about our terraforming falling into the rails and everything else. So I'm going to go get this set up and then I'll be back once I get a bit more redstone. Clearly I need to do something about that rail there. All right, so there we go. We now have kelp all the way in, and we messed around with the redstone circuit a little bit in the back. As you can see, it's going down. I decided instead of running the hopper minecart all the way down and then sending it all the way back up, that we just send it all the way down and then loop around back up to the top, which seems to be doing really well. It gives the bottom plenty of time to regrow before it comes back around. So we're getting a little bit of kelp come in. I haven't really done a proper test with this because I haven't furnace yet. But we have about 4, nearly 5 hoppers full of kelp in the time that I've been letting this run, just to make sure that the minecart in the back doesn't stop randomly on us. Because as you can see from the timings here, it is running a little slow. I had to add in some powered rails in the middle sections just to make sure that it didn't stop right after hitting the activator rail. But the timing seems to be working well for the kelp. We seem to be getting 1 or 2 every single time, pretty much. So I'm glad about that. Now all we have to do is drop our coal into here. Get that started. We have 2 charcoal. So that'll get us 16. It should hopefully get us enough kelp in the crafter here. I think it should just automatically spread them out. I don't know. I haven't actually really used the crafter all that much beyond what we did for the redstone pit. So we'll have to see if that works. But if this works the way I think it does, those 2 pieces of charcoal should jumpstart our coal block production. And after that, it should hopefully keep itself self-sufficient. So once we actually get kelp blocks, that'll just keep hopefully smelting it up. And then we'll see if this is fast enough to keep up with the smelter. That's part of why I went with a furnace instead of a smoker. Because furnace will run a little bit slower. It'll hopefully keep up a little bit better. If it's running too far behind, then obviously I'll change it out for a smoker. This also gives us more experience. Speaking of, we need to put a lever on that furnace in order to keep it from breaking. Completely forgot about that. There we go. Now we should be able to just take out a piece of smoked kelp once that gets running. And hopefully, this should be loaded for pretty much the entire time we're working on the island. That should hopefully keep us with enough experience to at least keep 1 tool repaired. But with that, I think that should be this entire farm complete. Now we just have to close up the access point, maybe get a separate tunnel out here maybe. That way we can actually get back here in case of emergencies. I don't think there should be any problems, but we should probably have something just in case. If anything, we can always just break out the wall here in order to get back here and check on stuff. But with that, I think that that is going to be about it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more of what is going on this island and in the rest of this world. And I will catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.